What's up everyone, Sean here, and welcome to my review for Superhot. I played it recently on a stream and played it entirely in one sitting, surprisingly. Didn't really expect how long the game would be, but managed to finish it, and love to give my review on it. Where do I start? And by the way, I did have a sore throat pretty recently from this California weather that's been constantly shifting, so excuse me if I sound a little weird here and there. So that's just a heads up. Let's start with the graphics, since that's like the first thing you notice is what you see. The graphics is just absolutely stylish for what it is. It's polygonal. It has that sort of a classic look to it, but it does look very clean. Looks really good on the PC. Playing on the Mac in this case, and you get, especially it looks really good. Even when you kind of bump it down a bit to the next highest settings, you don't really have to bump it up to the highest settings in order to get all the visuals of it. It still look really sharp, even after you bumped it down. But I did see it with all the settings high up, and when it ran that well during the time, it looked really good. It just looks sharp, stylish, and it's just something a little different from the usual games I usually play. I love the particle effect when you shoot people in the head. The way just the head just shatters, or just their body just shatters when they get hit, and you can see the trace of the bullet and all that stuff. The art direction for this game is just, I think it's fantastic. It works. It simplifies it. You don't really need to kind of put much imagination to it. You can just worry about what's in front of you, and the gameplay aspect of the actual game itself, and of course, and the objective, of course, which is to stay alive and get all the bad guys. The sounds of the game, not really much going on other than the voiceover, which is pretty one of the most prominent parts of the game, which is super hot. That I thought that was a pretty cool little touch to it, and the gun sounds are okay. They do the job. It's nothing extravagant, but it's not terrible either. They certainly don't sound like little toys like some, let's say, Call of Duty games in the past. And it's just simplified. There's not much music going on. It's just again, it's a very simplified design, and yet it's still satisfying when you shoot that gun and then you hear that head exploding, or you just see that bad guy just shattered into pieces. You just hear that the particles falling to the ground. It's like glass, and again, it's like whenever you go to a place and they allow you to give you they allow you to break their ceramic plates, kind of like to relieve your stress. You just throw it to the ground, you hear that shatter, and that's the kind of feeling that people would get. I think it's just very satisfying when you actually hit that, when it hit those bad guys. Now, besides the visual and the audio presentation, I think the biggest part and the most important part of this game is the gameplay itself. It's very different from the usual FPSs that you just that you see nowadays, and especially with Battlefront, Fallout 4, Call of Duty, and this is especially coming from a guy who does play quite a bit of FPSs. Fallout 4 was a big part of my winter gaming season, and I did play quite a bit of Battlefront and Call of Duty as well. So playing this, it was really refreshing in my opinion. Not saying that Fallout 4 was bad by any means, but this is different. This definitely is formatted in quite a different way. Everything is in slow motion. It's in bullet time constantly, and you're not running off a gauge of some kind, or you don't have any power-ups. Every time you move forward, then things go fast, or go back to normal speeds rather. So while in slow motion, you want to look around, and even looking around moves things around faster. So look around carefully, calculate, and execute your moves, and try to be smooth about it. And it's kind of like how in Call of Duty you always do the breach, and when you blow down the door, it's all in slow motion. You shoot the bad guys with one shot, and it's a one-shot kill. It's kind of like that, except it's a much longer experience, and it's much more intuitive and a lot more thinking. And you would have to calculate your shots. You have to angle it so that way the bullet would meet the bad guy at this point or something like that. You gotta know your vectors and the angles and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. It does have some elements of pool in a way, or billiards if anyone plays that. So there's that kind of element for those who like that. It's just you, the guns, and the bad guys. It's pretty simple, and you have the environment, of course, which is all simplified. Of course, it's all white with some shading, and again, it just works. The gameplay really just meshes it together, in my opinion. It was really easy for me to use the mouse and keyboard, despite always playing on the game, playing on a controller. It's kind of simple. It definitely does feel like it's a point and click type of game, but at the same time, it's an FPS, but also it has some puzzle-like mechanics, because you are constantly trying to think who to shoot first, when to shoot him, where to shoot him, and what to grab, what to use as weapons. There's all sorts of weapons in the game. There's not only the guns, but the objects around you. So you can use the balls from the pool table, you can use the cup, you use a box, you can use a TV, you can use all kinds of stuff, and it's simply labeled in a black color to obviously contrast from the white background. And it works. It absolutely works, and it's so easy to spot them and kind of formulate your strategy. And along the way, it can be difficult as the levels progress, and it just makes it more and more fun. Despite me, having to die over and over and over again in certain parts, it was still fun because I'm trying to constantly think of a way to get around these bad guys and how to beat them from wherever they're coming from, what kind of weapons they have, and so on and so forth. And you can see your progress and it's just so satisfying seeing that you progressing further and further in that level until you beat it. And of course, at the end, by the end, when you beat the level, it just really, it feels like it really pays off. This game really gets your brain jogging, unlike other FPSs nowadays, and it's really a combination of a shooter and a puzzle, really, and with simple and yet pleasing visuals. And throw in the sounds, and you have a pretty well put together package. And it is about $25, $24.99 on Steam. It is available for the PC, Mac, I think Linux as well, and also the Xbox One. And another thing to note is that this actually has a story mode. I didn't really expect it to have one. I thought it was just all about the gameplay, and with or without a story, I think this would have been fine. It doesn't really change it for me, because the gameplay is just so much fun. It's just something you would love to keep going and going. Really, it's pretty addicting, and of course the controls feel good, so that only adds it to the game. I'm really glad I picked this up after watching a couple of people, like Best Friends. I think Markiplier played it at one point. I know Angry Joe did. So on and so forth. And I didn't really want to spoil myself further, so I bought the game and played it for myself. And I'm really glad I was able to beat the game. With the story itself, it's not quite cohesive or easy to understand. It's kind of just something you would have to kind of look up later on. And it's not just this like really simple, straightforward story. It's kind of gets you thinking a bit. You think you're just this random hacker, trying to get through a system, or you're playing a game. I mean, who knows what's it really about? It does feel like sort of like a Matrix style storyline. It does get pretty confusing at some points, and you really don't know what happens until you really look into it. But despite that, it does get you thinking, and it doesn't really take you away from the game. It again, it like adds to the game experience further. And after you beat the game, you get even more stuff. You can play the levels again, or you can play the endless stuff, which is pretty much survival mode. And you have challenge mode. So there's quite a bit of content after being in the game, and you can edit your own replays in that game, which is that's a nice little touch if you want to show off your skills, how you beat that particular level in your particular style, so on and so forth. With all that said, I'm really glad I got Superhot and got to experience it myself. I would give this a I know I said I'd give it a 9 out of 10 during the actual stream itself, but I'm going to bring it to 8 out of 10, just because it's just something, of course, I'm not going to pick up, or it's not something I would play every time, but whenever I feel like, just shooting some stuff and kind of turn on my brain a bit, I would definitely turn this on, and it's just, you go right into it, and there's no fillers or anything like that. It's just you, the guns, and the bad guys, and you gotta just use your brain how to beat them, and you gotta calculate your strategy, use that slow-mo to your advantage, and be careful, because one little hit, you're done. So anyone who loves puzzles, who loves shooters, will love this game. It's got that coolness of the shooter, but it's got the smarts of the puzzle games, or any brain-esque games that people love to do. Whenever they feel like doing some games that require actual thinking, this is the absolute game to own. It's so much fun. It looks cool, and there are parts where the gameplay would just bumps up at one point, and you're gonna just only gonna love it even more. So that'd be it for my review on Superhot. Again, it's just absolutely a fun game. You gotta pick it up, especially when it's on sale, and I think that's definitely a great time to get it. I mean, I think even with the current price tag right now, which is again, it's I believe $24.99, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. It feels like a well put together package. So I hope you pick it up and have fun with it, but I certainly did. So thank you guys for listening in on my review. If you have any comments about Superhot, I'd love to read them. Leave it down below in the comment section below, and give it a thumbs up, all that good stuff. Hit that subscribe button if you want more videos, and if you want to also follow me on the social media stuff, all the links will be in the description box and all that good stuff. So thank you for tuning in. I will see y'all in the next video. Peace. Sean out.